Hi, I'm RGBrown. Today I'm going to show you how to learn a scene. For that, you'll need to read it aloud. You cannot hear a scene while you're in your room by yourself. You'll need another actor or perhaps an acting coach. Now while you're doing it, listen, ask yourself, what scene is it? What is the value at stake in the scene? And most importantly, what do I want from the other actor before the scene is over?
Let's read the scene as well.
Okay. Pete, what are you doing here?
I was in the neighborhood.
Liar.
Fine. I was grueling nightmare drive just to see my girlfriend for a few minutes. Is that better?
Much.
Have you talked to your brother today?
No.
Val left him this morning. Packed up all our stuff and took off.
You're kidding. Is Jack okay?
Can you ever tell when he's not?
Good point. I can't make it to dinner tonight. Steve wants me to stay late.
Again? You're doing that an awful lot lately.
What's that supposed to mean?
I'm sorry, I just don't trust that guy.
First of all, that guy is my boss. Second, he's happily married.
Right, because a married guy hitting on his hot secretary would be totally unheard of.
Executive assistant. Pete, what are you doing here?
I was in the neighborhood.
Liar.
Fine. It was a grueling nightmare of a drive, just to see my girlfriend for a few minutes. Is that better?
Much.
Have you talked to your brother today?
No.
Val left him this morning, packed up all her stuff, and took off.
You're kidding. Is Jack okay?
No. Can you ever tell when he is?
Good point. I can't make it to dinner tonight. Steve wants me to stay late.
Again, you didn't have an awful lot lately.
What's that supposed to mean?
I'm sorry, I just don't trust that guy.
First of all, that guy is my boss. Second, he's happily married.
Right, because a married guy hitting on his hot secretary is completely unheard of.
Executive assistant, thank you.
Again.
Pete, what are you doing here? Liar.
It was a grueling nightmare of a drive just to see my girlfriend for a few minutes. Is that better?
Much.
Have you talked to your brother today?
No.
Val left him this morning, packed up all her stuff, and took off.
You're kidding. Is Jack okay?
Can you ever really tell when he's not?
Good point. I can't make it to dinner tonight. Steve wants me to stay late.
Again, you're doing that an awful lot lately.
What's that supposed to mean?
Oh, I'm sorry, I just don't trust the guy.
First of all, that guy is my boss. Second, he's happily married.
Yeah, right, because, well, a married guy, yeah, hitting on his hot secretary is completely unheard of.
Executive assistant.
Great, guys. Whether you call it the moment before or an action or an intention, the only thing an actor can play in a scene is what do I want from the other person before the scene's over. Now in Spolin vernacular, what's beyond this scene? She may or may not be having an affair. Is that playable? I don't know, it's kind of ambiguous. What we do is take the what's beyond and make it the moment before. Let's say that Caitlin is having an affair with her boss. Nay, they were in the back room a few minutes ago on top of the copy machine. She walks out to comport herself and he might run out with his pants down. Then Pete walks in. All right, let's see Sloan play that.
Pete, what are you doing here?
I was in the neighborhood.
Liar.
Fine. It was a grueling nightmare of a drive, just to see my girlfriend for a few minutes. Is that better?
Much.
Did you talk to your brother today?
No.
Val left him this morning, packed up all her stuff and took off.
Is Jack okay?
Can you ever tell when he's not?
Good point. So listen, I can't make it to dinner tonight. Steve wants me to stay late again.
Again? You're kind of doing that an awful lot lately, aren't
What's
you?
that supposed to mean?
I'm sorry, I don't trust that guy.
First of all, that guy is my boss. Second, he's happily married.
Yeah, right, because a married guy hitting on his hot secretary is completely unheard of?
Executive assistant, thank you.
Good. Now, let's look at Peter. His what's beyond is the same. Caitlin may or may not be having an affair. How does he play that? It's kind of ambiguous. What, they were at a hotel room a few weeks ago? How does he play that? He does the same thing. He makes it the moment before. After a long drive across town, perhaps he saw them out front. Perhaps he saw them maybe kissing, maybe it was a little too familiar. Now remember, if he knows for sure, the scene has nowhere to go. So he has to enter the scene now, curious about what's happening with his wife and her boss. All right, Peter, you ready for that?
Curious.
Curious. Now the other part for Sloan is even more difficult. How do you play a negative? How do you play that she's not having an affair with her boss? How do you make that what's beyond the moment before? A little more complicated. How's this? Instead of being on the copy machine having fun, she's on the copy machine fighting off her boss who's been groping her for months. She finally told him if he did it again, she was going to turn him into the bar. And he said, if you do, I'll have you fired. Right? Now how does she feel when Peter comes in and accuses her of having an affair? Let's see.
I was in the neighborhood.
Liar.
Fine. It was a grueling nightmare of a drive. Just to see my girlfriend for a few minutes. Is that better?
Much.
Have you talked to your brother today? Well, Val left him this morning, packed up all her stuff, and took off.
You're kidding, is Jack okay?
Can you ever tell what he's not?
Good point. I can't make it to dinner tonight. Steve wants me to stay late.
Again. You know, you're doing that an awful lot lately.
What's that supposed to mean?
I'm sorry. You know, I just don't trust that guy.
First of all, that guy is my boss. Secondly, he's happily married.
Right. Because a married guy hitting on a hot secretary is just completely unheard of.
Executive assistant, thank you.
Good. Now ask yourself, what are the stakes in this scene? How important is it for Peter to find out whether his girlfriend is having an affair with her boss? I'd say on a 1 to 10, they're pretty high, right? So now that we're listening to the scene, we start asking ourselves, actors, can we hear the scene? Are we there yet?
Pete, what are you doing here?
I was in the neighborhood.
Liar.
Fine. It was a grueling nightmare of a drive that I made just to see my girlfriend for a few minutes. Is that better?
Much.
Did you talk to your brother today?
No.
Val left him, packed up all her stuff, and just took off.
You're kidding. Is Jack okay?
I mean, is he ever not okay?
Good point. I'm not gonna make it for dinner tonight. Steve wants me to stay late.
Again? Oh, that's been happening an awful lot lately.
What is that supposed to mean?
I'm sorry, I just, I don't trust that guy.
Okay, first of all, that guy is my boss. Secondly, he's happily married.
Right, because a married guy hitting on his hot secretary is completely unheard of.
Executive assistant, thank you.
Right. As you'll see, the only thing an actor can play is an action. What do I want from the other character before the scene's over? And it's fun. Did Dean get what he wanted? No. But he was playing something, he got a reaction to what he was getting, and that's what we're looking for. Okay, now comes the best part. We've read the scene maybe 6 times aloud. We've heard the scene. Now all we need to do to learn the scene is to close our eyes for a few minutes and recall it. We'll realize that we already know it from the repetitions. Now if you get through the scene and you have a certain line that you can't get to, do not go back to the page if you can help it, or do not call for a line, because that's one for one, short-term memory into short-term memory. The only way to get it into long-term memory is to access it from your memory. So sit there and do it. Now if you get to that line and you don't have it, you got to start all over again. Go to the script, learn the line, start from the beginning and go through it. Now this is a short scene. I suspect that most actors will know it after 6 run-throughs if they just trust themselves. But it might take 7 or 8, some people it takes 2. But you'll see within 20 or 30 minutes, they'll know the entire scene. All right, we'll be back with them in just a minute. Okay, let's see how they did. Dean and Sloan have been sitting here for a few minutes recalling the scene. Let's do a quick speed through to see if they know it. All right, guys.
Pete, what are you doing here?
I was in the neighborhood.
Liar.
Fine. It was a grueling nightmare of a drive just to see my girlfriend for a few minutes. Is that better?
Much.
Have you spoken to your brother today?
No.
Val left him this morning, packed up all her stuff, and took off.
You're kidding. Is Jack okay?
Can you ever tell when he's not?
Good point. I can't make it to dinner tonight. Steve wants me to stay late.
Again? That's been happening an awful lot lately.
What's that supposed to mean?
I'm sorry, I just don't trust the guy.
First of all, that guy is my boss. Secondly, he's happily married.
Right, because a married guy hitting on his hot secretary is completely unheard of.
Executive assistant, thank you.
Good, they know the scene. Now what we're going to do here, put Peter over in this chair. So would you all switch places for me real quick? Sloan's going to make a choice for Caitlin that we don't know. She's either going to decide that the moment before is that they had an affair and a little tryst on the copy machine, or she's going to decide that they did not and she had to fight off her boss. Pete's job in the scene is to figure out what she's doing. Remember, the only thing an actor can do in a scene is ask himself, what do I want from the other person before the scene is over? Okay? Let's see what we got. Actors, let's play.
Pete, what are you doing here?
I was in the neighborhood.
Liar.
Fine. It was a grueling nightmare of a drive, just to see my girlfriend for a few minutes. Is that better?
Much.
Have you spoken to your brother today?
No.
Val left him, packed up all her stuff and took off.
You're kidding. Is Jack okay?
Can you ever really tell if he's not?
Good point. I can't make it to dinner again tonight. Steve wants me to stay late.
Again? That's kind of happening an awful lot lately.
What is that supposed to mean?
I'm sorry, I don't trust the guy.
First of all, the guy is my boss. Second of all, he's happily married.
Right. Because a guy hitting on his hot secretary is completely unheard of.
Executive assistant, thank you.
Good. Can you see Pete's reaction to the scene? Did she have an affair or not, Dean?
I don't think so.
Right?
No.
You didn't?
No, I think that she might have been molested by her boss, right?
I was.
Right? And I think that's the scene the way it was written. He doesn't enter the scene thinking she didn't have an affair. He enters the scene thinking they had an affair, and he comes to realize that perhaps they didn't. All right, next week we'll get to how to get emotionally connected to a scene. For now, I'd like to thank Sloan and Dean for helping us out. Until that time, I'm Robin Glenn. You can find my website at rgbrown.com for any workshops or private coaching. Thank you.